Welcome back to the second battle of Midway, fellow armchair generals. Yes, that's what I'm calling this. We have, looks like a fairly small invasion group. Looks like there's two divisions, so there's some transports here, some of the question marks. Could be more CVs and DDs than currently identified, but there we go. So I've vectored in a bunch of fleets to this spot. And we'll see if my sort of grand strategy plan is going to work. And that is that we don't fortify. Oh well, let's attach this to here to get at least some benefit out of it. Fortify to defend against the landing force so much as okay, off the Straits of Singapore we are operating as well. I was planning on sinking the landing fleets. Okay, now we've got a bunch of these guys. Okay. Naval strike. Naval strike. Naval strike. Naval strike. Naval strike. Air intercept. Let's see if we can get some of those. Carrier aircraft intercepted. Okay, yes. To allow these guys. Okay, so we have two CVs. One even is the USS Midway. Okay. Yeah, they got their CAGs, but we still have him operating. Okay, extreme terrain combat tactics have advanced. Here and okay, it's not a one and done, so we'll let this continue. It's only 41. Yeah, that will benefit us in at least the jungles and the marshes and those kind of places. I was very much, in fact, wanting this to happen. Just sort of what's happening here, to be able to, in smaller bites than the big death fleet that we still are going to deal with, and see if we can. Well, these guys, okay, these guys are holding good for now. These guys are getting a little pounded, but oh well. We got fleets coming. Okay, you guys are patrolling out here. And right, okay. Yes. Yes. And yes. I think that would be a good. We got these guys back out patrolling, and these guys out patrolling again too in this area. Not all of our fleets are coming here. The ones from like Pearl Harbor, even down in Truk are all, I think these are probably the ones coming up from Truk still. Got a ways to get here, but okay, the bombing element, okay. Mass events has advanced. Very nice. It's under nation, I believe. Yes. Okay. Yeah, repair rate improvement would be nice. Okay, well now we have surface fleets along with various air contingents in operation. The pocket battleship's taken some damage there. These guys needed to rebase before they could operate. Panel of the Admiralties. Yeah. Battleship group with a little bit of, oh good, and a little bit of air covering it. See that? Well, I've met, I'm thinking of one particular historian who really only cared about the history, meaning the actual history. And to me, that's almost an alien viewpoint, because I'm so interested in not what ifs as in, you know, Kaiserreich. Well, what if all this wacky stuff happened differently? You know, what if, you know, Martians came down? No, that's not the what ifs. I'm talking about things, you know, what if the Japanese surface fleet engages American surface fleet? In one case, oh man, and I forget, you know, one case around the Philippines, you have some American light carriers of one sort or another, whether they're CVLs or CVEs, I forget. I think they were CVEs. They were running away, and they had some escorts. I presume some light cruisers, but I'm not sure. But and some destroyers and such. They were running away from a Japanese surface fleet and launching aircraft back at a surface fleet. And the surface fleet eventually turns around and leaves. But had that surface fleet, and it definitely had the speed to catch up in a given time, it would have just come into gun range and just slaughtered the surface vessels that were just you know, unequipped to deal with the big guns. You know, most basically carriers are unable to deal with lots of heavy gunfire. So, you know, what if the Japanese had pursued there, or what if Halsey had kept pursuing when he was basically ordered, would be a slight strong term, but sort of reminded that it was, maybe it was even involved in the same thing. Supposed to be protecting one of these passes, and he didn't. He was out aggressively looking for the Japanese fleet. I think that's why some of the other ones got in here. What if he had kept pursuing them with his surface fleet and not turning around and to try to protect the carriers and the landing stuff? And I think that both are related. I'm not absolutely sure that Halsey would have actively caught up to the Japanese fleet just because of distance and finding it, because he was primarily running a surface battle situation. You know, so I'm interested in these kind of what ifs. Very much so. So we look at the British getting Prince of Wales and Repulse, I think it was, sunk off of here by aircraft, you know, in the early days. That they were theoretically patrolling around here to keep the Japanese from being able to effectively land. And that would have been fine, as so long as by the time dawn comes up, you had some fighters, don't have to have huge numbers of fighters, but some fighters over the carriers, or I mean over the battleships, and kept the fighters over the battleships until sundown. I don't know if they had enough fighters to be able to, you know, keep that up, you know, to keep, I don't know, 4, 6, 8 fighters at any one time basically over them. It was more of the idea of, well, if they start attacking us, we'll radio for help kind of thing. Well, yeah, they, you know, didn't, I should send in some supplies straight into there, I think. There's just no way of responding in time to, what port is that? Taluk Anson, okay. You know, effectively, because you're just not going to get there in time. And I think the British thought they, you know, they weren't going to be sunk so easily, you know, so effectively. You know, they were going to maybe take some bomb damage, but here comes the fighters to shoot them down before they're sunk. You know, so yeah, it's a decent idea to have, because there really effectively was no, I don't think, infrastructure to move a large number of troops down this way. So you needed really to do a naval invasion here. But so the idea of using battleships there is a good one. It's just that, and also, of course, they still fairly early battleships. They didn't have massive amounts of anti-aircraft guns because they didn't realize that you're going to actually need such heavy numbers of stuff. But so the concept is good, but you need the air support. So I still think modern battleships, well, and to this day I still think they have a place in surface actions to this day, but really are a good idea. But they just really can't be a complete surface fleet without some air protection. That's why we're doing this, and they're out there bombing the submarines that they're finding. Okay, so far, Battle of Midway, that's what we're calling this, Gambia Shoals. We've taken out the Midway, a bunch of destroyers. We've lost 2 destroyers. Okay, you guys are in good shape, so you come back out here. You were just to rebase the supply out of there and be close enough. Looks like we've won. Okay. Well, let's head over here and patrol, trying to find the rest of that. You can go into rebase these temporarily there. You're going to overstress the supply, I know. Patrol. And patrol. Oh, can't get that far. Can you get to there? Okay. Patrol. That's because you're basing somewhere else, and that's fine because we don't want to overstress supplies here. Okay, we've taken out their landing craft, which means their 2 marine divisions are destroyed. We've taken out another destroyer. And you're going after what's left of the carriers here and whatnot. CAG is trying to do what it's... yeah. Okay, guys, yeah, Naval strike this area. You're taking down the CAG. You're taking out... okay, so they have lost. Wow, okay, so the second Battle of Midway, we've destroyed 2 carriers, 2 marine divisions, basically for some damage and the loss of 2 destroyers, if I remember correctly. So that is a very cheap price. Okay, we're going to send you yeah, quadrillion may be a good idea. I don't think that significantly delays our Hawaiian takeover attempt. Okay, you get on board. Yeah, I still sort of want the ports rebase until we can get the Philippines. I want to keep the ports at least so when they, you know, get poor intelligence or something, you know, zoom out, sort of maybe see that there's some unit there. Hopefully they don't know how weak it is. They're just a military police unit. But hey. Yeah, you keep advancing too. Okay, down here. Oh, out here, okay. Don't know what that was that got our stuff. These guys are hunting for. Okay, go back home. Go back home. Will you guys go back home if I just undo that, or will you just sit out in the water? I think you'll just sit out in the water. Yeah, you guys can go back to here, I guess. Get a little bit more reorganized. No order, so you're coming down there. Let's head back to here. Now you guys will go back home and get organized up again if you stop attacking. We'll let you keep because you're going after multiple areas, so. Okay, we now have some, well, relatively proper, well, yeah, that's a good path. Can you come across there, or are they going to be sending out too many ships to deal with that? Yeah, gotta get this stuff better organized. So the plan worked. Okay, short-barreled gun, anti-tank, or tank gun worked. Development, improvement, whatever. Okay, Oh, high density alloys. Yeah, we'll do that. Now I sent. Okay. Yep, these are all in good shape. So they're going to come down here. They're going to come down here. And I guess they're also going to come over here too. And these guys are going to invade Rubal. Gives us an airbase and a port down in here. Okay, well that tells me that we need to shift these guys to here, because I guess that's where they think you're gonna invade from. Be escorts. Yeah, you can come down there too. Okay. Now. Yeah, you can go to Hawaii. I don't know if it's back or just there. Military police. Basically just get us better organization for occupational troops. Here, yeah, okay. I think we'll stop that for now. Yeah, these would be better. Sure, Plunk Doctrine would be a better thing to have, I think. They're probably operating out of some of these bases in here. Well, that's where I really wish I had a few more of these. Though I have uses for all the naval air right now. So we're not going to move them, but where I think they really should be, some of them, in a real world situation. Okay, just check and make sure we are running supplies into there. Okay, that's good. Small warship radar. Very good. Oh, it's probably here, yeah. And we are maxed out on that. Very nice. And yes, it leaves. So let's come down here and Hedgehog defense. Well, that helps Tropical Island garrisons. Yeah, I think we'll do that. That'll help do a little bit longer what we were doing up here. And to a point, this is, you know, I read, I don't know, what was it, 6 books or something, sort of early on in this, getting ready for this and early into this series on the Pacific War, Japan, and whatnot. You know, I do think sort of the original concept, and unfortunately we don't have a lot really done in English on things for Japan, but I really think most of these garrisons was originally something sort of like what I'm doing, in that they were meant to be not to be an impregnable defense, not to defy US invasion, but just to be something there to require an actual real invasion, you know, not just, oh, hey, yeah, 500 guys just hopped off a ship and walked ashore kind of thing, you know, or came on, you know, shore on rowboats. And so that might be there if there was just, say, the ground crews for the aircraft or something like that. Yeah, you got some, you know, aircraft mechanics, and yeah, they got Arisaka rifles and a few machine guns, but they're probably not going to be, you know, your diehards fighting it out. Now, once they're there with the army and the army's diehard and fighting it out, they'll fight along with them. But they're probably not going to be this, you know, big problem kind of thing to take them. So you have an actual garrison to defend the island, to make it so that you need to have a real proper amphibious operation, which all takes time to organize, get set, and come on in. And so if you have that, that should then allow you to have a focal point to move your fleet and engage the enemy, preferably in a what would be in an advantageous situation. You know, they're not ready for it. They're shore bombarding. Their aircraft are you know, flying, you know, close air patrol for the you know, the fighters are for the aircraft that are dropping bombs, and they have bombs instead of torpedoes. And all of a sudden you come over the horizon, whether with your aircraft and or your surface fleet, and hit the unprepared you know, carriers and other vessels. But even if they are sort of prepared, knowing that you're coming in to hit and sink that fleet. So the island is just sort of the thing that is focusing everybody's attention, not so much the thing that is the reason, the cause for all of the battles. Okay, yeah. Okay. No, we're currently battling it out in the Suda Straits. Okay, they're probably going to keep us. Well, let's try one more time. Of course, we can try a naval operation. Okay, Germany has heard that our embassy has heard that Gneisenau is lost. Okay. HMS Repulse is lost, and Furious is lost as well. Okay, new German ambassador, improved relations with Germany, good. Construction of a ball bearing plant. We are now in possession of ball bearings as a strategic resource. Given their many uses in military application, we should consider investing in a new ball bearing plant in order to mass produce them. In doing so, we will gain increase in our ability to repair units and more efficiently in the field. Okay, build it is 10,000 money. We have 30,000. Lose 12,000 supplies. We've got plenty of supplies. Okay, until May 43. So almost a year. Minus 5% on ICs. Okay, we'll do it. I was there. Airborne artillery support. Okay. Good. So now we have that. And we have this. So let's grab the 2 of these and add that to that. Yay. No. See if we have a better officer. Maybe someone with some parachute skills or commando skills or something. Commando would be okay. I'd prefer level 2 or better. Lots of level 2s. That's sort of the seeming to be about standard Japanese level. I'd rather have some targeted traits than just simply a level 3. Okay, can we get commando paired with anything else? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now, okay, you're here. We need all these guys. Okay, all of these guys get on board. Come to here. Rebase. Okay, you're here. Take the port. Okay, the Zuikaku. You're gonna come to here. That was my original plan. You guys are a good thing, the Shoikaku group. You come to here. We're expanding on my original plan. And we had the Garrison. Okay. Oh damn. Okay, we better take that fast. Okay, group division shattered. Guessing it was one of these. No, wasn't. I don't know who it was. Okay, it was a mountain division, it looks like, or this is the earlier one. Okay, we need to get some transports up to there. Okay, you guys now. You guys come to here. Rebase. Get on board these other vessels. No, don't transport to Saigon. You come to here. Rebase to here. Because I want to wonder what that is. I want to, we have these guys on board ship here, that are here now. I want to pull these guys out and pull these guys out and leave behind tropical island garrisons, as well as we'll do that here because, yeah. Okay, we now have Secretary of Public Education has advanced. Very good. That will stop those for some time to come. Let's look down here. Have we gotten all of the Pack front. The 42s that are, rolling artillery barrage, yeah. We want that. And broadcasting, yes, let's see the plans. Build an oil refinery, 12,000 money. Another 5%. Okay, we'll do that. Let's look. My biggest problem with those is, just as you probably remember, the clock, and I play in such small segments that the clocks sometimes get reset. Broadcasting, where's broadcasting down here. Okay, we have entertainment shows, which help mostly, well, they help during wartime, but mostly it's not needed and for reducing consumer goods, so we don't need that. Heroic tales, territorial pride, national unity. Okay, but we're not really doing the defensive thing so much. So this will also do some territorial pride, not as much. Well, the same as for the lower level, yeah. National unity help as well there, and ruling party support. So we're going to do news and politics. Come up here. News and politics. Okay. Okay. These both deserve. Indian nationalists. Our troops' victories have given the Indian nationalist forces confident that they will soon be liberated from English imperialism. An assortment of their soldiers offer to join our army to fight the English. Azad's may be watching this. I'm sure he, at this point, would be yes, 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 yes. I believe, I don't know because it didn't happen, but I think the Japanese would have very much attempted to be overlords of India. I think they would have been worse on several fronts than the British ever were, or were at least generally being. Yeah, I know some things went sort of bad at sometimes, but I think the Japanese would have been worse. We don't know this. They might have just gone, yeah, India's just too far away. India's just too far over that horizon. And yeah, as long as you're just sort of vaguely in the, which you'll get it to this, greater East Asia prosperity sphere, just sort of a vague general member of it, and then you can do what you can be independent. I mean, they might have gone that route, but again, from my recent readings, the propaganda that they were putting out, not from every source, and it wasn't maybe well coordinated. It didn't have a Goebbels behind it, but definitely what they were re-educating people about history, is straight up lying to them about history and how old historical facts about how Japan sort of mythically rulers around the world long ago, and wacky stuff like that. Again, not coming from every source. And other things that the Japanese under Tojo shown there, that were really pushing a highly dominant Japanese world view that wasn't going to, oh yeah, hey India, you can just sort of be independent, just as long as you're not like against us. Now they weren't, that wasn't what I was seeing in them. There was high levels of racism. It's not quite the racism that you see in Nazi Germany. There's a lot of special circumstances with the Nazi Germany racism, because you can go and I was just like on Twitter, oh well, Lincoln was a racist. Well, I don't know if Lincoln was a racist, but lots of people way back in Lincoln's time in the 1860s thought white people were just better than black people. That doesn't mean that they thought that, Lincoln hated slavery, so he might be someone that doesn't think that black people are equal to white people. I don't know. Meaning, quite honestly, I don't know. And remember, Lincoln comes from a very poor background. His father doesn't read. He does learn to read, but sort of in spite of his father. Their mother has either died or abandoned them, so he's raised by his father. His father is very brutal to him, very poor, doesn't like sort of Lincoln's notions of education and whatnot. And so, Lincoln isn't coming from some elitist, even elitist American background, that there were most assuredly families. So he's coming from grinding poverty. So he may look and see the black people as just other people. I don't know. Or maybe he did sort of, whites are sort of better than blacks. But he very much doesn't like the idea of slavery and, thinks it's abhorrent. The Republican Party is founded on the idea of an anti-slavery party. That's its main mission. That's one of its main differences to the earlier Whig Party that is falling apart and it replaces. Remember, the first real election that the Republicans run a presidential candidate is Lincoln, and they win on the anti-slavery platform. Now, maybe, again, I don't know what's in Lincoln's mind, and I'm not a Lincoln expert, and someone who is. Maybe you want to read Bill O'Reilly's book, Killing Lincoln. He may have some good stuff on it. Now, of course, we do know Lincoln was one of the better vampire hunters, but that's another whole story. But maybe, as often is the case with reformers, they have their own private views, and I was talking about the left lying on stuff. But Lincoln may realize that if he pushes his reform agenda too far, it's further than where the general American people are at. And I understand that philosophy, even from the left. I understand the idea. And you don't want to push reform beyond what is acceptable. Reform. What does reform mean? It means to change, is to reform the situation. Not means to re-space, form a different thing in society, because maybe a legal situation. It's reforming things. It's not just reforming things. Like getting rid of corruption or something, but otherwise keeping the system as it is. So like getting rid of bad cops, but still keeping all the laws that you have. You're just reforming the police department by getting rid of the bad cops. No, reform can be reforming the society, reforming the laws so that they are significantly different. Okay, so there's different types of racism. Often what people normally talk about racism in the American context is a strong dislike of other races or a particular race. The Nazis hating the Jews in particular, or the white Southerners resentful over the Reconstruction, not just losing the Civil War. You gotta, if you understand the history, it's Reconstruction that really, really pisses off the white Southerners. So they become very resentful to the blacks in their midst. And so they have a deep-seated dislike for them. Some of them do. And so you get the KKK kind of situation. And then you have the sort of racism that still is around today, and very much so in non-white communities, is that we, whoever the we are the best. we Martians, I don't want to, because I don't want to put it on any particular race or group today, but we the Martians are better than any of the other than Venusians or Uranians or whatever. We're better. Doesn't mean that we don't like the other people, but we're just better somehow. That is still very much going around in the world. And I know some of the social justice warriors, well, we have to fight that. We have to fight that. So you want to do violence to people. Oh, well, we don't mean violence. We just mean confrontation and legal lawsuits and public shaming campaigns and getting them fired. And, oh, well, yeah, punch them once in a while, too. Yeah, so they want to fight that. As opposed to, because that's a social justice warrior, as opposed to, hey, racism isn't a good thing. You know, as I say, when looking at large groups of people, I think the primary differences that are meaningful in any sort of way are cultural. I'm a culturalist. And yes, I judge cultures, and I'm very much a chauvinist for the Western culture. Now, of course, there's different flavors, shall we say, of Western culture. And generally speaking, the Anglo culture, I think that is the best, you know, generally speaking so far, because I've lived briefly in Britain, and they are highly socially stratified, much more than, especially California, America, you know, as to sort of your social standing group. And so, I don't like everything about, even whether it's my California culture or English culture or pick your flavor of Anglo culture. I don't like everything about it, but I still think it's better than everything else going. I think it is. Now, my friend Azad, he's going to think India may be the best going because he's Indian. And a Chinese viewer is going to think Chinese is the best culture going. And that's all great. We can all think our own culture's best. We can all even maybe admit, like I will, admit that there's problems within our cultures. Okay, that's how I view large groups of people, not on race, but on culture. People in the 19th century and before, particularly, mistook the differences being racial and not cultural. They mistook the lack of education or the situation as being a racial reason and not a cultural reason. So I forgive anybody in the 19th century and before for their racism just because they were ignorant. If you're ignorant, well, okay, you know, the people are ignorant. If you think the sun goes around the earth, and so you say and plot everything that way, I'm not going to be down on you for having that view, because that's the view that everyone has until, what is it, Copernicus or whoever that figures out the earth goes around the sun, you know. So, you know, until there's a new an understanding. So I'm not going to condemn somebody for having racial views, or people coming out of those things that still sort of use, the Anglo race or the Indian race. They're really meaning, I mean, they are meaning the race to an extent, but they're also really meaning, especially, you know, before World War II, I'm thinking sort of Churchill, they're often really sort of meaning more the culture, at least how I would use the terms. So, but Japan was very much pushing this racial idea of them as being sort of above the other Asian races and other things. So they were really pushing that as a dominant thing. And it wasn't the same thing Nazis were doing, but it was getting pretty bad. So we could accept the rabble or no need, which we still get some manpower. Well, we've got plenty of manpower, so we're going to take some units. Okay, the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere put forth an alternative ideological basis and new unifying organizational principle to articulate the military, political, economic, cultural, and ethnic ties between Japan and Asia. as a pan idea, and that means you know, not quite sure where Pan comes from. So I don't know that it comes from the god Pan, as in panic. That is from the god Pan, but it means a sort of a culture-wide or region-wide, like the Pan-Africanist Congress of Africa in the past, or whatever, you know, sort of Pan-Africanism, meaning sort of African unification, or Pan-Arabism, meaning sort of Arab unification. But as a Pan idea, it was based upon the geopolitical theory that the world would be divided into Pan regions consisting of 4 large economic spheres centered on the core industrial regions of the United States, Germany, Soviet Union, and Japan. With the bloc, co-prosperity would replace the Wilsonian idea of open door in East Asia. In place of the liberal principles of self-determination and self-interest of the individual Asian countries within the international economy, reformists advanced the principle of coexistence for Asian peoples within a self-sufficient bloc. Its organizational basis would not be free trade based on the country's comparative advantages and natural resources or profitable market strategy, but rather on the organic, hierarchical, functionalist principles of totalitarianism, Zentai shogi, and the multilateral business organizations in which each member country, according to its ability, kaku min zoku no bunni o jitai, or ijiti, whatever, contributes its raw materials, labor, capital, or technological expertise to the benefit of the bloc as a whole. This is in my opinion, and you can probably find some writers who have some of this, you know, long before, but really this is more of a, oh shit, we have an empire, what are we going to do with it? How are we going to sell it to people? As opposed to a philosophy of wanting to create a Japanese East Asia co-prosperity sphere. How do we do it? Oh, well, we attack the Europeans. No, it's more of an afterthought, and it's an attempt to sell Japanese imperialism to other Asian peoples, partially based upon racism. Excuse me. We, the Asian races, are going to get rid of the European races overlordship, and it is us, the Japanese, who are not conquered, occupied by non-Asians, and basically sort of the only one on any great scale that is industrialized. So I think the only other one sort of going was Siam, because, you know, China you can talk about, but not just Hong Kong. I look at Hong Kong as as well as Macau, both long term, as sort of territorial losses in from wars. Boy, need to get something to drink here in a moment. So we're gonna have to end this up fairly soon. So, and it's getting time anyways too, but I'm looking more, not just things like the Canton concession up here, you know, which was really, actually, the several concessions were really, really small slivers of the city, but the larger carve-out regions of French, German, British, and Japanese economic spheres that you're talking actually goes before Wilson. Yeah, it goes before Wilson. But the U.S. wanting the open door, everybody gets to compete economically in China and other places. It was a, you know, a pre-carved up China situation. So China, yeah, I know we've got Chinese viewers, and many of you are strong nationalists, but China was a major sick man of Asia. So, okay, we'll lose one in dissent. Good, we have enough dissent. National revolt risk is up. I don't like that, but our ICs, energy, raw materials. Regiments will rise up in Xinjiang. Okay, so we got these guys rising up. Go and kick their butt and come back. This battle sure is taking a long time. We're like winning it and all, but it's sure taking a long time. Especially seeing as we've taken down several other major stuff. And we've won that one. Cool. Let's do party rally. Yay. Yes, we can, and that will help us out. And yes, we're going to end the episode here so I can get a drink. And so thanks for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And of course, I really love hearing from you. So please post a question, comment, suggestion. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.